We're always on wait for it. Come on. Hey, you're live, Madam Chair.
Okay, I'd like to go ahead and call the December 15th, 2025, 6 p.m. Parks and Rec Board to order at 6:06. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for that. So those in attendance, Jennifer Dalrymple, Chair, Carol Hatfield, Wendy Gravely. We have Abra Lewis as the Secretary Recorder.
They have to say their own, so then it'll recognize their voice.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, okay. Carol Hatfield, member.
Wendy Gravely, member.
Barbara Lewis, Administrative Assistant.
Lindsay Rickmeyer, Commission Liaison.
Nicole Brown, Community Development Director.
Okay, thank you. All right, any comments not included on the agenda? Everybody had a chance to look at November 17 minutes? I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes as written.
I make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
Oh, I will second that. I'm sorry.
We have
Carol's
a motion
looking
made
at
and
you
seconded. All those in favor? Aye.
I was wondering why she didn't say that.
Okay. So the minutes are accepted from the November 17th meeting. So letters of interest for board positions. We have an update on that?
I
Any
did not
letters?
receive any other letters, Madam Chair.
Okay, so then we have 3 positions still vacant, or Mike's, and then the other 2 to make the 7?
If you want 7, I mean, you have that
Okay.
option. And I think that was kind of put in there if there was a lot of interest and you wanted more
Okay.
people. But, I mean, I would think right now, because Dirk is still here, so I would think you would just want to find somebody to replace Mike so you have an odd number on the board. That would be ideal.
Okay, and do we have any interest for the chair of the board, since I will be stepping down as chair?
I'd be interested.
Okay, all right. When do we elect for the chair?
January.
January. Okay, Carol? You can get your campaign speech ready.
Yeah, no.
10 minutes.
Jeez.
Okay, so that's, any recommendation for the board positions, any vacant board position for Mike's?
I'm working on 2 people, and I thought one of them was going to be here tonight, but
You're recruiting
yeah.
actively?
Any other active recruiting? Okay. All right. Interested group checklist for projects. What I did today is I went through and I looked at your notes, Carol, and I appreciate that. I obtained the City of Helena's contract template for trails and park projects. And I went out and pulled the Flathead Growth Policy, Parks and Recreation goals and their policies and projects, and what they've done, general process for park project development. I've not actually gleaned all of this and put it into a specific project checklist for us yet. I did the MDT, and then I went out and looked at what they call the United States Access Board, which is ADA Access Board from 2019, and looked at other websites where we can glean some information on how to go about putting this checklist together. What I did want to ask you, Nicole, was do we have any checklist for any other projects necessarily for community involvement? I mean, do you know of any for the city, even if we, like the volunteers that go out and clean up parks? What the city might have. Otherwise, I will go down to the city and talk with them if we don't have anything specific from them.
Madam Chair, I do not know of anything specific that the city has, or for that matter, even some of the civic groups. You know, they do One Day, One Park. There's a couple of the church groups do like Impact Townsend, I think is what they call it. Anyway, I don't know what they have for a checklist.
Okay.
Oftentimes those groups do call me and see if I have any projects that they can work on. So, which leads me to think there may not be a list out there, but I don't know
Okay.
of one.
Okay, because I know that we have in the past the skateboard park, the different pavilions that have been put up in different areas. I just didn't know if anybody was doing anything other than just asking permission from the city to put those together, because I don't know that we've done any on county land necessarily, other than maintenance of Connor Field. But, okay, all right. And we'll develop it from what we can glean from others. Okay. Do we have any other questions on the checklist for projects?
Could we get a copy of those so we could look through them at some point in time?
Sure.
Or, just so we could look
Yeah.
at them as well at some point.
Okay, and I can hand these to Aubrey, and maybe she can take a look at them and figure out which ones would be pertinent. And the back of this has all the websites for the additional trails and develop the integrated trail labs and that from Bozeman, and how maybe we can do that one. Okay. I will do that then. I will pull that down to, I don't know if you want this one or not, but we'll do that for Abra. Okay. Youth involvement for the board.
Madam Chair, I spoke with Mrs. Heverin, the principal, high school principal, and she was very positive. She's going to talk to a couple other teachers to see what they can put together. She would like something written, like what that student member roles and responsibilities would be. So I told her I could probably write something up. The other thing I wasn't sure of is, do we want that student representative to attend every meeting? Like what the role is going to be and what the expectations are going to be, because she said they're very busy. They're still trying to find a student representative for one of the boards. I can't remember which one she said, but she would definitely work with us. She thought it was a great idea, and we'll see if we can get somebody to sit on it. So it's just a matter of, I could write up a little paragraph and send it to her. Just, I told her we meet once a month for an hour. There might be some additional times where we may have working meetings or something if they can attend, but completely understand that they have a lot of stuff going on as well.
Okay, and when I mentioned it to the Rotary group, the Interact students, whether that might be something, I know that you're kind of the liaison for Rotary to the high school for the Interact Club. If this would be something that one of those Interact students might want to get a little extra involvement with. And so maybe after we develop that paragraph, we can pass it on to Nicole to maybe pass on to the Interact president. And that's the high school student-led Rotary group that operates at the high school. So they're pretty involved too. So,
Madam Chair,
yes.
would our bylaws be like passing on the bylaws to them, like basically like any other board member, right? Here's the expectation. If you can't be there, like get an excuse. You know what I mean? Just get an approval for an excused absence. Technically, just being accountable. I mean, or does it need? Are you thinking it needs to be more?
I don't know, I'm wondering if they just, if it needs to be more descriptive as far as they're not actually acting as a board member so much more as just a liaison for the youth groups and a voice for the other students. And I know we had a pretty good turnout when we walked up and down for the comments on the plan for the Centerville Connor Field plan. When we walked up and down the street and they did their QR code and they went online and did that, it was a good representation. But I feel that if we could get one of them here, they could take it back to maybe potentially their Interact group or the student council or a broader audience at that youth level. I think is that similar to what Mike was kind of indicating, that that's why we should have the youth?
He never said anything to me. I just told him that I would help him out in communicating to the school, and I think we just need to decide if we want him to be a liaison or a voting member. A lot of this, especially seniors, do need a lot of community service, and she said it would also be good to put on like any of their college applications or resumes or whatever. So
Okay.
many seniors and juniors will probably be the audience that they target.
Okay.
So, yeah, we just need to decide, do we want him to be a liaison or a voting member? So I can get back to her and let her know.
Well, the other thing, after what you said there, is they probably would only be with us for a year, and
Yeah.
then would be moving on as well, so they would be fairly short
True,
term.
true.
It might be better to target a junior.
I don't know
I don't
that a
know.
high schooler could be a voting member, could they? I mean, I guess there's nothing that says they can't, you have to be 18. Like, they could turn it in a letter of interest the same as anyone else. I don't know.
Madam Chair, I don't know of anything in MCA that says a youth cannot be a voting member. I know staff cannot be a voting member. So no, MCA, Montana Code Annotated, which is our governing document for the county, is very specific on who can serve on boards, but I don't believe there's anything in there that says a youth, that you have to be an adult to serve on board.
I will look into that.
It's worth looking into, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, good point. Thank you. Any other comments or questions on youth involvement for the board? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. Parks and Recreation Master Plan Review. Carol?
Yep. I made copy. Let me make sure I have a copy for myself. I made copies for everyone. And basically what I did is I updated it to be the final, put today's date on there, left the first 2 pages the same, and then on the last page, took out the numbering system for priorities and added baseball fields, Canton land with sub-projects, see master plan or community proposal, Centerville land, sub-projects, master plan. And that was pretty much all we, I think, had discussed for updates.
Okay.
So the recommendation would be, this is the new list on page 3 that we would focus on, knowing that things would change. It's going to be fluid because projects are going to come in, new ones. Some are going to get completed. Funding could be an issue or not an issue. The public may come in with a new proposal or something, and then maintenance needs. And the recommendation would be, I think, Madam Chair, this would go then to the commissioners.
As an official endorsed addendum.
Yeah.
So my only question on the table 3,
Mhm.
and this might just be me, but under trail system expansion, you have that, it's not the plan, you have the actual trail system expansion.
Mm-hmm.
Signage, additional trails and existing trails, see the master trail plan, and you have the status of that being 90% complete.
Oh, yeah, that's all complete now, right?
It's been handed off to BCDC, so it's their plan.
100%.
So it's the trail system expansion plan, it's not the expansion itself. It's the plan,
I
right?
will fix those. Yes, trail
Okay.
system expansion plan, or trail plan, or what is the title of it?
It's a vision,
Vision, trail vision?
Water County Trails Vision.
Okay.
Because they didn't, BCDC did not want to. I'm sorry, I gotta start up here.
Oh, thanks for remembering.
Who are we?
Al Christofferson, CHRISTOPHERSEN. Yeah, the document that we completed, the Trail Committee completed, is with BCDC, and they wanted to, they were concerned about using the term master plan, so they wanted it changed to a vision document.
Okay.
So it's I think I remember the exact wording for the title of it now.
Okay.
But we've gone through and tried to change all the places where it said master plan to vision document. So it's, I think it leaves it a little more open that way. But that's what they've got.
Okay, great. I will make those changes.
Okay.
So I think maybe if you want to look at how these were done here, Silos project, Silos master plan complete, and follow that, yeah. So, yeah, trail system expansions.
Yep.
Okay, so then it just vision plan. Okay,
And I will send you a new copy, Barbara.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you for pointing that out.
okay. Do we have any questions for Carol? All right, then we'll go ahead on number 10. Board members to liaison and oversee with other community recreation groups. I would like to, excuse me, continue to be the liaison to the BCDC Trails Group. If you're going to continue your Trails Group, or if that master plan or that vision plan was your only project and you're going to cease and desist. Mr. Christofferson, are you going to continue with the Trails Group, Trails Committee?
Al Christofferson. They have a meeting Wednesday night that Trails is on their agenda. I do not know what that discussion is going to be about.
Okay.
Last month we had a discussion, but it was mostly around, they brought Gene Townsend in from Three Forks to have him talk. And so I know that they're trying, I think, no, I don't know what the discussion will be Wednesday. I won't be there. I've got a different meeting that night.
Is that at the lodge again?
It's at the lodge at 6 o'clock. And I have gotten the lodge reserved for the 8th of January for another Trails Committee meeting, so that we can have a discussion about how the committee is going to move forward and what they're going to do, type stuff. And so, yeah, Jen, I've got you on the list. I mean, and Carol too is asked to be on the committee, so you're both on there.
Okay.
So we'll have a discussion then about what the committee, where they see their role is going to be going down the future. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Well, in that case, either or, since I'm also a member of the Rotary, and I do keep tabs on and go to Rotary meetings quite often, maybe I will defer the BCDC or the Trails one to you, Carol, and then I'll go ahead and continue with the Rotary and then the Legion as well, because the Legion was looking at the Peace Pole Park and Meditation Park. So any in particular, Wendy, that you might be involved in already that you'd like to?
I am not involved in any at the moment. I'm open to learning. I'm in the learning stage of everything.
Okay.
So,
All right. Well, obviously, there's the baseball group, the softball groups, some of the sports, maybe in general, sports groups. I don't know who else does construction of any kinds of projects. I need the golf, Big Sky, Big Leadership.
yeah, I do a lot with golf stuff. The Big Sky Leadership, I'm not familiar with them.
Is that the one that, they're the ones that just did the McCarthy Park tennis court redo?
Oh, okay. Right. Okay.
Allison heads that up here. It's through the extension.
Yep.
So it's a local program.
For the Big Sky?
Mhm.
Okay.
And it's seasonal. It's kind of seasonal. They wind down. I don't know when they.
Yeah, Big Sky Big Leadership is a 7-month program, and TJ was a classmate of mine when I went through it, so if he'd spoken about it before, going to these leadership trainings once a month. They don't always do projects. It depends on the member, like the class member. And, at the end of each class, we're tasked with doing some type of project. So they're not necessarily as active every year with doing a project. But Allison Costo heads up Big Sky Big Leadership with MSU Extension.
Okay.
But I think the golf one obviously would be a good fit for you.
It is a good fit for me. I used to be on that board, so I do understand what's going
Very,
on there.
very, very knowledgeable about that, yeah.
Okay, well, and if there are any others that come up, and I don't know which ones Dirk might already be involved in, that he could liaise with also. And if there are any other organizations that do projects or that are looking to do projects, once we get the projects list together and somebody maybe comes to you out of the blue and says, hey, I want to do a dog park, then maybe we can look at a liaison for that specific project and monitor that way as well. This is kind of, I think what we were, on this one, we were just trying to figure out community recreation groups and how they can have, how we can be involved with them and kind of inform the board on what their thinking is.
Right.
And also bring to them what progress we've made directly, such as development or grant requests that are out there, or something that they can look at as an entity to help complete whatever vision or project they have.
Okay.
So it's kind of just keeping the communication a little more in-depth and more personal for these organizations to the board. Okay? Okay. Brainstorming and assigning grant searches. All right. First one, obviously, right now, Rotary is looking for projects to fund. And I have their grant request. And they've obviously funded a tremendous amount of projects around the community, as well as giving our baseball group quite a bit of money and funding projects. So I looked up that one. We had the Fish, Wildlife, and Parks grant application guidelines for trails. Whether we want to tackle that one, we have about a month to get that one done. Actually, 3 weeks. I think it's due January 6th. And
That's FWP, you said?
that's Fish, Wildlife, and Parks Recreation Trails Program, their RTP.
Which trail would you focus on? Like, what would you-
Centerville.
Just the trail round.
Just that
Yeah.
just that little gravel, doing that gravel trail around Centerville's 10 acres. And it does require an environmental assessment, but we might be able to get that as a categorical exclusion because that's already been farmland. It's already been disrupted. There's irrigation canal. If we stay away from the actual wetlands itself, which we'd plan to do because of the structures that have to be either filled or removed, maybe just do the first 7 acres and leave that 3 acres of the wetlands area out of the picture until we decide what we want to put down there in those trees.
Would the engineering not count toward, I mean, I know it's not technically an environmental assessment, but considering that it was like public ground that was given to the county to use, Does that make any difference?
I don't know if they've ever done an environmental assessment, but the categorical exclusion is usually is pretty wide, pretty broad on the environmental. If it's already been disrupted land, and the environmental assessment checks wetlands, special species, special fauna, archaeological sites, things like that. And because it's already been disrupted for farming, ranching, public land, I don't know that just putting a gravel trail through it is going to cause but we'll have to take a look at it. But I know that it could be, if they decide we have to do an EA, that could be pretty extensive.
So,
But
Madam Chair, are you basically saying that the Parks and Recreation Board would put in for this grant and then manage it if it was awarded to the county? Because I think, and I am very familiar with FWP, RTP, because the Forest Service would put in for those, our rec program managers. And a lot of times they do require an engineering or design and survey of the trail, especially if it's ADA. I don't know what all the specs are and everything, but I was just wondering if the county then had somebody that would help oversee and manage the funding for that. I think that's something that the board probably needs to discuss.
I think the county would, we hold other grants. Like the county holds the money
Yeah.
and manages it. We would have to, we've just been talking about some different grant stuff. That's something, I can get that information from Debbie Kelly, exactly what she would need as far as that goes. But I think we do have to get permission. I think the commissioners have to okay any grant applications, which is hard in 3 weeks. But we've got a meeting Wednesday. We could.
well, and I know it does say you have to have a government SAM registration to be able to accept the money. It has to be SAM registration, and I know we had that for our Legion as well for projects, but the system for award management, and that's typically, it's easier if you have a government entity for that. But I don't know. We would have to decide whether we want to go for this one or not. It's pretty extensive. But the reason why I say that it would be a good one to go for is because when they require the match, project expenses incurred prior to the start date are ineligible for reimbursement or match, with the exception of design and engineering expenses. If incurred up to 18 months before the start date, these expenses are eligible as a match for this grant.
Oh.
And that's why I felt it would be, we've already spent the money for the plan, the master plan for Centerville. We've already done all the public input and that kind of stuff. And portions of this require that. And we could use that as a potential reimbursement or match, not reimbursement, but reimbursement in the sense. We have 18 months to do that from project start date. So we spent that money in April, so we're looking at September. We'd have to start this project in September, so that would be the 2026 cycle for the grant. That's just kind of something I threw out so that we already have a match, a potential expensive match.
Sure, yeah, makes sense.
Depending what we're looking at for the money.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to, Madam Chair, can I ask the Commissioner a question regarding your agenda? So I'm on the agenda at 1 o'clock already. Would any of this, you can't make a decision, but unless it falls under ministerial items, without your agenda in front of me, unless you have it in your binder there, to see if there are any ministerial items that you can make a decision on, is kind of where my head's going.
Let me pull it up real quick.
Okay. And then to piggyback on that, Al, you may know more about this than I do, so I apologize if I'm putting you on the spot, but you're a wealth of information. When Mia Whitfield was our grant writer, she was contracted by the Broadwater County Trust Board to create the grant to take that land from federal land and put it into county land, there was a lot of research done. There may already be an EA done on that property, and I'm happy to pull that file. I know it's in the commissioner's files downstairs. I mean, it's almost an entire drawer of information on that property. I don't recall what that, there's a name for that process when it changed hands. So Mia Whitfield is the individual who went through that process. And do you know any more about that? Sorry, Al. I don't know enough about it.
Al Christofferson. I don't remember the exact name that it was done. It was done under the National Park Service authority to transfer that property from federal to county. And I'm pretty sure there was some kind of environmental document that was put together for that. However, my discussion with the state people on their two grants, one is the Recreation Trails Program grant, the other is the Stewardship Grant, which is also open right now. It's my understanding they are looking in a proposal that's going to have engineer design information for a trail. So in other words, how wide it's going to be, what the footing is going to be to make sure it's solid. Because a lot of these, the next phase is to come in and maybe hard surface it. So now I may be wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. But I think that the environmental documentation that they're looking for is specific to building a trail. And so it's probably a little finer detailed, not necessarily more complex, but I think they're looking at stuff that's been engineered.
Yeah.
That's probably the first question to ask them if you call them.
Okay.
But that's my understanding is this is the engineering part to build the trail, and so it would have to be that kind of information because I've looked at that. I've had a discussion about Centerville, Highway 12, silos, and the bridge, and the answer I got was you probably need to look at the stewardship grant and see if there's some things there that can help you. But that's not to say. The other part is that if you wanted to approach the trust board for any kind of partnership or support money, because one of the things when you apply for this, you've got to be able to identify all your funding sources.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're looking at the trust board, you've got about a week because that has to be into the trust board 2 weeks.
14 days or 10 business days.
Yeah, yeah. Before their meeting. So your time is really, really tight.
We're doing the 6th, right? We're doing the 6th this time.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, just pass that on so you know where that's at. I think I'll just tell you my perspective on several of these is that if we want to apply for them next year, we need to start now. So we've got this kind of detail built into these, and we've got the matching funds set up. We've got the engineering done, and that's a problem because the engineering is basically a consultant firm that's going to come in and do the survey and design. And a lot of the design is template. It's in MDT's trail planning handbooks. That you can pull the templates right out of there, but the stationing and that kind of stuff. The one for the fairgrounds to town was done in the master plan. So there's an actual line there that said this is where that trail is going to go. Now maybe it says this is where the water line is going to go. And we interpreted that also to mean that the trail is going to be on top of the water line. Yeah, so there's just there's a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Madam
Okay.
Chair,
Yes.
I will get information on the application, but any details you can give me would be helpful. Not right now, but
Okay. Well, I think the first thing is, do we want to tackle it for this? I mean, do we want to get started This one may be too tight of a turn. I mean, I'm looking at we're looking at land that's already been disturbed. It's just flat trail with some hard great bottom and, you know, removing vegetation obstacles, put a flat trail in. But maybe that's a bridge too far for the first one, and we start looking at it for next year and get started on it now. That's a good point, Al. I appreciate that. But again, we still would need commissioner's approval to pursue grants. So-
Yeah, I mean, I think normally, like, we know in advance, you know, it's like, hey, this is the grant we're applying for, here's the project, this is what we're doing. Okay, bring it to the commissioners, we talk about it, and say, yeah, you can apply, or no, don't apply.
Okay.
And the details of that too, of course, are how finance manages that grant and what that will entail. Because
Okay.
there will be deliverables and different things that have to be tracked,
Mm-hmm.
so.
Okay.
So Madam Chair, I think, well, two things. Does the county have an engineer that they could help design and survey?
Madam Chair, may I respond? The county has a contract engineer.
Okay.
Great West Engineering is our
Oh, okay.
contract engineer.
Okay.
We are not obligated to use them. We keep them on retainers.
Okay. So I guess I have a recommendation that maybe we work with the commissioners on seeing if we can use Great West to help us design and survey trail, and then that information could go into that grant. We could figure out what other matching, whether it's cash or in-kind, that we need, and then how we're going to construct it. Implementation, I think, would be a part of that grant as well. So possibly getting all that stuff done up front,
Mm-hmm.
and then putting in for the grant next
Okay.
season. But
Next season, okay, I was like, that's a lot for 3 weeks,
yeah,
holy cow.
no, I don't think that we're going to be able to meet the time frame. And I'm with Al. I think we do have to have some kind of design and survey done, especially if it's going to meet ADA specifications, which you would be familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, would you use the, are you thinking to go to the trust board for the match, or for the, excuse me, not the match, the
Design
Pay
and
Great
survey.
West, yeah.
Yes.
Al Christopherson, Madam Chair. The biggest cost is going to be upfront is the engineering firm to do that design work.
Yeah.
And, you know, that if you wanted to take it to the trust board, that would be a discussion, a decision they would have to make about how to do that. I think the other part is figuring out who else around in your, especially either business or nonprofit world, is interested in the trail stuff. They may be, in some cases, more flexible to be able to work with stuff, handle the grants.
Such as Prickly Pear Land Trust,
Yeah, or BCDC.
BCDC.
Or I know there's several handfuls of nonprofits here in the county, and I can't tell you which ones would be interested in certain trails or not. But it's I think that's part of the challenge, is to find out or figure out who's interested in working on these things and how they can do it. And I think that comes back to the discussion you guys have had before about what's the role of the Park and Rec Board with all this stuff, because I hope you have a clearer picture than to figure that out. But anyway, thank you.
Okay. So that kind of moves us right into number 12. Ideas for moving forward. Unless somebody has any more brainstorming or assigning for, no assigning for grant searches necessarily. I mean, we have this one. We've done a trust board grant before. We can look up Prickly Pear Land Trust, look at some different opportunities for different grants.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
maybe also just a thought. I mean, Great West is phenomenal, but they are very spendy, as Nicole pointed out. We don't have to use Great West, and I don't know if the board were to apply for a grant with. I just don't know all the nuance to it, but if the board were to be applying or trying to do this project and finding an engineer, I don't know if you have to go off a bid for something like that, project-wise, or depending on the amount, a guesstimated amount, or if there's other engineers, maybe smaller and more independent engineers, that would be a little less. This isn't a massive engineering project,
True.
is what I'm saying. So,
It's basically an 8-10 acre trail.
yeah, and so maybe it's worth looking into that as well. I mean, I can find out, if what's required of the board for that. Like, would there have to be a bid process for it? I don't know.
I don't know what your threshold is
Right,
to have
I
to
don't
go
know
out
what the
for an
threshold is.
RFP.
Exactly. I don't know.
25.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. There we go. Yes. I mean,
So look at, right, so for county RFP threshold, if you could find that out for us, and then we will look at, and we could get just a basic estimate too. I mean, they do have estimates online on going for in some of the paperwork I pulled up, they talked about the costs for going for gravel, putting a base and all that, and what the cost is for doing asphalt, and then concrete, of course, is the most expensive. They do not require asphalt or concrete for ADA. They just require a non-submersible surface, one that is a hard pack. And here in Townsend, we know we have a lot of good clay. And I'll tell you that some of the Graymont, when they do their limestone gravel, it is rock hard when it's dry, because I have it on my driveway. Yes, there's a reason. But those are some of the things we can look at as well. So ideas for moving forward. Do we have any ideas on the Canton property?
Madam Chair, I have one more thought. You said Prickly Pear a minute ago?
Prickly Pear Land Trust as one of the grant opportunities.
Would
Or
it be
design
worth
and development.
inviting Prickly Pear Land Trust to come to a meeting in January and talk to us, just so we can ask them questions and have a conversation about what that would look like, or what, I mean, they have different options. They're not just, you know what I mean? They purchase land and give it to people to use, with the easements. They have different
Entities, they do have different
different
elements.
way they structure their programs and how they build their trails, right? They do easements with people. I mean, it just on private property. There's different things that they do. So it might be worth having them come and discuss so that we can all hear it, rather than like one of us just talking to them.
Are they fairly available, Mr. Christofferson? I know that you've talked with them.
He's getting his exercise.
He is.
Al Christofferson, Madam Chair, yes. I think we've talked about it in the Trails Committee about trying to get Prickly Pear Land Trust and Gallant Valley Land Trust, both adjacent partners to Broadwater County, that have extensive work with trails, easements, and funding. And I think if you wanted to have a invited forum of a couple of good partners, I think both of those would be really good. They're different. They've got different levels of historic involvement and financing and how they're set up, but yet they're similar. And they're the vision document in there under the finance part, the funding part, is pretty strongly following both of those entities. So those recommendations come from those two entities for the most part. So I'd encourage you to look at both of them. Whether you
Okay.
have them at one meeting or two, I don't know, but that's up to you guys. Thank you.
Okay, thank
Did I
you.
answer your question?
Appreciate input, yes, absolutely. Okay, so that's one for the January meeting. We can send an invite out for that. And so that's one idea for moving forward, is to get some outside input on where to go, what to start. And then I know that I will go ahead and take what I've got now that I'm a little less encumbered running to Arizona and back. I will take what I found today and try to create that checklist we talked about, and for small projects checklist. And that mostly is going to be for the Centerville property, because I don't think we have anything that we can put out at Canton right now. We have agreement with that? We can't really move forward with Canton.
But I think that's, I mean, it's a blessing in a way, because it kind of narrows our focus. And it, like we've discussed, I think to get a win and just get the ball rolling somewhere would be really great. And I mean, Centerville's it's ready to go.
Well, there's no contested entities. It doesn't solve the issue on the need for more ball fields, but from what I heard from Craig in the city of Helena, is they have the same challenge. Is they have so many groups that want access to ball fields, some type of soccer, hockey, lacrosse, field hockey, of course, and their football practices and baseball, and everybody's screaming for more green space and fields. So we're not any different in that aspect. So, but I think right now for us to get something going on Centerville, even if it's something as small as the dog park, or I'm not sure how much engineering the dog park's going to need, but maybe we refocus and not tackle the trail if that comes up, and a little bit, having to have an EA and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. But good suggestion, the EA on the historical documents. It should be there in the transfer, because I would imagine the county would require it if they were to obtain land. So, any other ideas for moving forward on Canton? Centerville, Centerville. I think first and foremost, get the historical documents from Centerville.
Yeah.
And we'll sit down and take a look at them and then see what we can do. Okay, and I've got some ideas for grants, but I think we can obviously look at our local Rotary. We can look at the future Fish, Wildlife, and Parks grants, Prickly Pear, the Gallatin Land Trust, BCDC, the Trust Board. We have a slew of nonprofit entities, and
Well, there's that. What was the conservation one? The Canyon Ferry.
The Broadwater Trust?
No.
Canyon Ferry Conservation.
Canyon Ferry Conservation Trust, and they are like, no one's asking us for money.
Oh,
And
I
they've
thought
just
that
got
was
projects.
the Fish and Wildlife.
No, there's because it's confusing, because
It
there's
is
like the
so
Broadwater
confusing.
Trust,
Yeah.
but this is the Canyon Ferry. I sent you the link. Wait, I can resend it to you.
No, I have it. I
okay.
was just thinking of.
I'm
so confused because I feel like somebody changed the name, but that would be really good.
I mean, they're like no one's asking for money,
And there's a lot of money.
and they're sitting on money, so
Okay.
Yeah.
that one would be really valid.
I think, like you say, if we get the specific project together and the elements of the project, the
yeah.
EA, the design, what we really want, and make it specific, and then
Well, I mean, and
go
if
from there.
you're looking at a series of grants, excuse me, sorry, my brain's all going, it's firing now. You're looking at a series of grants. I mean, we already have the map for the project, right? We kind of know what we want to put in there. So maybe it's not just the trail. Maybe like if that Canyon Ferry Trust, if there's more money available there, maybe we say, oh yeah, we need to do this and this too, And
put
hey,
the
let's-
playground in, put the dog park,
Yeah, put some
a
parking
few
in,
of the small
right?
parks, put the parking in.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, we
Okay.
have That's the good part about having the master plan, is it's
Right.
there, right?
We can always ask for the sky and do with what we can get that falls.
And if you
our
have the
way.
EA, if that's going to be a thing that is a recurring request or requirement for some of these other grants, I mean, if we get the EA done, we get it done. And then maybe once that box is checked, if it's not in there historically, right, then it's done.
Yeah,
Right.
and so, Madam Chair, if I may, my brain is still going back on who's in charge, who's gonna take it, who's gonna maintain everything. I mean, we can do this work, which I really love, but we could do the whole package. We could do the dog park and throw in the whatever else is in the master plan. But who's going to oversee everything? That's kind of, I'm really stuck on that.
And isn't that why we are doing a checklist too? Isn't that part of the,
Well, it was kind of funky, and I don't
Point of
remember if you were
contact.
here, Wendy, for when we talked about it. It might have been 2 meetings ago. The legal department was saying, because we had initially discussed doing like an MOU or something with
Yeah.
different groups, and they're like, it has no legal force with it. You're not really, there's no entity that it's with. So then we had talked last time about sponsorships, kind of like sponsorships, or like this becomes the Lions Park or Rotary's Park, right? And Rotary is kind of driving that process of, hey, we're sponsoring this park, we're going to, find people to maintain it, we're going to, they're the ones like out there in Forest trying to get it, like we build it, right? And then they sponsor it, something
So
like
is
that.
Rotary going to sponsor Centerville?
Not that I know of for the whole thing. They would like to have that. I mean, we heard the Jan Hubbard came in with was it Judy Gillespie, and they talked about it doing a Pat Plattenberg Memorial Park, which Rotary liked. Rotary liked the idea, and of course Rotary also mentioned doing the Peace Park, a memorial meditation Peace Park kind of garden. And Linda was wanting to head that up. But, and we had Linda McCulloch, who wanted, I was saying Linda Cousineau for the Peace Park, but Linda McCulloch wanted to do the dog park. And she said she had grants and she had a group that wanted to help put together a dog park. But again, what's the long-term maintenance entity? When I talked to Lewis and Clark, or the city of Helena, when I talked to Craig Moran, he said Lewis and Clark County has HOAs and they do MOUs for those small communities and they put it on the backs of the HOAs. In this aspect, we don't have that. So, again, he used MOUs and we talked about there's no legal enforcement for MOUs. Well, then why have them?
Well, just with, because it's
necessarily.
not with another, the golf course has a contract with the county, right? That's a lease. That's like a legitimate lease. There's repercussions to breaking a lease, et cetera, et cetera.
But are there a specific 501c3 entity?
With the Rotary. Yeah, but I mean, that's...
I mean, the
that's-
golf course is,
Oh,
right?
I think, yes. But that's different, obviously, than if you had, 10 citizens that really want a dog park, and
Right.
who are you doing that MOU with? Like, where's your... what's
Organization,
binding? What's binding? Like, if they decide in 5 years, if they do an MOU for 10 years to take care of the dog park, and in 5, everybody's like, done, we move away, then
that's what I
what do you
worry
do?
about.
Yeah. So, anyway, that was why if there's a actual organization, that's good.
Right, and I think in that case, I think my recommendation would be you lean toward the organizations that have a historical presence in this community. Long-term historical presence. But that's not to say Seroptimus didn't go away. They were here for quite a while. Cattle Women's Group is still there. But those entities, Rotary is strong and Rotary's there. I know Lions are pretty strong. And I know Lions Foundation does tremendous grants too. So, yeah, that's what we would have to look at is where do we go from there? And the city of Helena Craig also strongly recommended that we start the procedure now to get a full-time maintenance individual, funding for a full-time maintenance person. And he said, set your path toward that. They do it with open lands assessment. The city does an open lands assessment, but the county does not support it. So all those people around the city of Helena who are county and not city are also people who use their parks extensively, and they're not paying into them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's getting some of the city individuals a little bit of rift there. But the city of Helena has one person who's responsible for maintenance through the Parks Department.
And that's a full-time.
That's a
salary.
full-time individual, salaried individual. And the city oversees all contracts for construction, and they have MIA for their insurer. And what they do is they have the money from the organization comes in. If an organization wants to build something, they bring the money to the city of Helena, and the city of Helena puts it on their list. And then they accomplish the contract. They oversee the contract for the development of the project that that individual wants to put in.
The city does?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And they use their city insurance for MIA insurance for that. And then the city becomes responsible for the maintenance of the park and the structures they put in. But they also said that the dollars from that organization also have to be O&M years out.
Mm-hmm.
Years out.
Yeah.
So they've got to bring a big chunk of money to the table if they want a project done. And they get to put their name on it. So, anyway, so moving forward, Centerville, we'll do some homework on those. EA, I'll put a project list together.
Yeah, let me know what you need help on for the grants and all that stuff.
I think some more grant research. Would you mind contacting Prickly Pear Land Trust and Gallatin Land Trust and asking them if they would be willing to join us?
Oh, you have it right here.
I don't know if you want the executive director, you can ask me later, I'll just figure that out.
Okay, so Prickly Pear and who?
The other is
Gallatin.
Gallatin Valley Land Trust.
And you want me to find out if they could come to a meeting?
Yes, if they'd be willing to come to January's meeting.
Okay.
Of course, I say that and I may not be here. I am gone the 19th to the 26th. And I think our next meeting is the 19th, of course. That's the day I fly out.
Madam Chair, the 19th is Martin Luther King Day.
It is a holiday, isn't it?
It's a holiday, yeah.
Gosh darn it! I just am
So
thinking.
staff doesn't get upset about paid holidays off. This is only elected officials.
Well, we just confirmed a meeting earlier today for January 19th because I don't even. It's like it just doesn't even like. It's not in my wheelhouse ever. I'm sorry. I still have hospital working day. You know?
We're the
like,
Parks and
holidays.
Trails team.
You know, the holidays.
Go down for the Parks and Trails team. There you go.
Okay, so there's Colin, there's Nate, there's Tim, there's a bunch of them. Take your pick. Start with him and see where you
So
go.
should I just go?
Parks and Trails Director, I think, might be,
don't-
or Program Director might be your better bet for that. Nate Cup.
The lands team, leadership team.
You just don't even think about it.
Yeah.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
Al Christofferson. I can, Wendy, I can get you the names of the people that I've talked to in both those organizations, specifically about all this stuff. I can get you their names and phone numbers.
Because they
Emails.
already have some background knowledge of our county a little bit.
They've been involved in the plan, so, yeah.
That would probably be the best.
And so I can convey the discussions I've had with them, which may shortcut the amount of time you have to spend doing that.
That would be wonderful.
Okay. Yeah, and a couple other thoughts. You know, if the trail on the Centerville project is something that is not going to be extremely expensive. You know, there's a good possibility we could cover all that just with local opportunities and maybe some volunteers with volunteer form, right? And so these deadlines are neat, but they really push you. And I think, like I said before, I think the best thing to look at those is getting ready to put a good application in for next year, and whether it's Centerville, whether it's Canton, whether it's Fairgrounds, whether it's Silos, I don't know. But I think all of those you got to start looking at and get them in the pipeline. Talking to the new TA guy for the state, you know, he's talking generally you can expect to put in for a year or 2 years, maybe before you finally get your application cleaned up enough and in polished fashion that it becomes competitive. And so I think, and that probably fits with most of these, that the first shot out of the barrel. The one thing that we do have is access to all the successful applicants over the past several years. So anybody that wants to read and read and read, you can get in and read all those and see what they've done and what they had to do to get them in there and get funding. Once you get in there, then I think the stream is pretty good. And the stewardship one, they help buy maintenance equipment. They help do the if you all of a sudden have a big maintenance project, they can fund those as a project. And so I think there's just so much to look at. And I think the last 2 or 3 pages of the vision document is either 1.5 or 2.5 pages of grants, just a line item listing of grants all across the country. And there's a lot of these ones that are national that will fund local projects, and a lot of them will fund them bigger. So don't overlook that. There's a lot of stuff in there. And so with that, I think the discussion on how grants go forward, who actually applies, who's going to be the fiscal agent, whether it's the county or nonprofit, who that's going to be, how they're going to handle that, because they probably also are going to have to handle the contracts, unless the county wants to handle the contracts and then just issue a service bill to a nonprofit to say, okay, pay for the work that's been done. And I know there's a lot of ways to do that kind of stuff. I think that's what Prickly Pear Land Trust and Gallup Valley Land Trust can help clarify, is how they deal with the money. Now, granted, they both have open space money to work with, so they don't get so hung up on all the base financing that gets them through the engineering stuff. They've got those bonds pay for that kind of stuff, and so that's where they get the legwork done. The other thought for you is think about the top 4 or 5 trails that we have identified, and maybe there's an alternative way to bundle those in an engineering package to get them all done by one firm at one time, and then you've got that ready to go. And if somebody calls you up tomorrow and says, if you've got an engineering package ready to go for 4 miles of trail, and we've got the money to fund it, can you do anything? And you can say, yes, we're ready.
Right.
So
You just pull that ready-made off the shelf.
Yes.
So Al, do you know, and maybe Wednesday is the meeting that all of this will come out, with BCDC and their trail and the trail plan? Because what we don't want to do is compete against each other, right?
Mhm.
We need to be helping each other out. So maybe it would be better that BCDC package up the trails and include this one and apply for the grant, because they're the entity that can manage and work with the county rather than the board.
Yeah, I think that's a discussion that should happen. It probably needs to happen, though, with more than just BCDC. Rotary, Lions, I don't know, Missouri Valley Marketing, I don't know if they want to get into the trail stuff or not. But there's other ones around, just the youth stuff. Do they want to be holding grants, and do they want to be doing the financing part? Because that's where you can get in trouble, is not following through with the grant. You get a grant and you don't do the right reporting at the right time and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the people you're talking about, Commissioner, are ones that are going to do that for the county, or would be available to other people to tie in with or not.
Yeah,
But-
that's what I'm saying is we would have to, I would need to talk to finance, because finance already is pretty full. They're not going to be able to necessarily track all that, right? Like
Yeah.
with any grants we get, like when public health gets a grant, Ruby tracks that. She knows when the deliverables are due. She works with finance directly for the reporting and the different.
So the
stuff.
person the department that submitted for that grant becomes the tracker for the grants.
Yeah, and I mean, like,
Supposedly,
finance will
and-
keep an eye on what's happening, like, hey, this audit or this report is due, or I need this, like, so-and-so, like, if it's like with DPHHS, they're contacting us, or the finance
Right.
department saying, hey, we need this
Right.
information, so there's a balance, right? Like,
There's checks and balances on
yeah,
it, so
yeah, so, but,
it doesn't fall
Yeah.
through.
Yeah, and I do know that some of the grants, when you read through them, specifically spell out that the cost level and the contracting and the type of bidding process you have to go through is dictated by the entity that's putting the grant in. So if it goes to the county and the county signs off on that, you got to follow the county's bidding processes. If you stick with nonprofits, they may or may not have the same level of competing those as the county does.
Right.
So you just there's so much stuff in those things.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are.
the nice thing about planning too, like, if you looked at, like, hey, I'm completely making up numbers, 10 grants that are going to be, this is what we are going to need. Here's how much we can get from those grants. Here's what each of those wants. This one needs an EA. This one needs this one needs this. If we know what 10 grants we're applying for, when they're due, are we working with this nonprofit, that nonprofit, 2 of them, who's doing what's getting it applied for. Like, we could really spend some time getting everything done, like, as a board, just like getting all those boxes checked in advance, right? Like, we've got the EA, we know, like, engineering.
We've got the public input, we've got this.
Right. We have all this down. We're
Support.
basically ready to apply for any grant that is out there. We can easily get those applications in, and we know what our financing management is going to look like how that will move forward, right? And again, maybe it's Rotary, maybe it's BCDC. We've worked it out. BCDC is going to apply for these 3 grants. Here's when they're due. We're like, here as a board and the county, here's the information. We can.
The
let's
details
get it done.
needed to fulfill those grants.
Yeah, yeah. So it's really about finding the right grants and then who's going to financially support the process.
And I know Prickly Pear has, at least to me over the phone and a couple times in person, said, we started the trails process. We were 2 years out in front of them. They had that much lined up. They just couldn't move out here to do stuff. 2 years is up. And so if they have an interest in adopting Broadwater County, I think that's a question that would be good to ask them, and probably Gallatin Valley. Would you be interested in being our surrogate, our grant, fiscal agent, and all those kind of things? It'd be very easy for them to say either yes or no, and then the picture changes and you go forward. But anyway, thank you.
Well, they were very willing to. I talked to one gentleman who was, and I think I told you guys this a few months ago, and he was like, "Yeah, I can come out and look at things." And when you're crossing private ground, that changes the nature of what you're doing. But I mean, it'd be great to have. I think again, have them here. We can ask lots of questions.
Okay.
So that-
Okay, and then the other thing is too, is as Stacy always imbibed on me, was use one grant to build the next grant, and get the larger, use them as match and build them larger and larger till you
Yeah.
get the money you need
Yeah.
to actually embark on the project. And so it's I know it's a fine, That's why Mia was in good, high demand, because she knew
Yeah.
how that system
Yeah.
worked. Okay, any other comments from the floor? Any other, so review of tasks for the next meeting? Yes, I will get this checklist done. I promised I'd do that. And trail specs for the new trails. I know that you, the trail specs, there's plenty of those here. And I've looked at them. I read through a lot of it today, and I think if we just stick with gravel trail for now, if we're going to do an actual trail. And newspaper, part 2, the process for developing the projects. We haven't got that yet. So that's going to be a little ways down the road, I think.
Did we have on there, I can't remember,
On this one?
an article, yeah, is this my email? I was thinking an article on all the projects that have been completed.
Right here, you had it as number 1.
Oh, okay. Are you gonna do that? Do you want us to, I can help work on that?
Do you have time? You want to do that?
Sure.
Along with, okay, all
I'm
right.
not doing much.
Okay.
I'm redoing, or fixing this thing.
Well, and you did a nice job on the updating the plan, and I
Yeah.
think it was part of that plan as to the progress that we've made.
Yeah, so
on
I
the
could
different
just
ones,
use this.
on this one right here.
I could
all the
use
yellow,
this to
so.
write up a short article,
Mm-hmm,
pass it to the board and see.
Okay.
Ask for edits, whatever, because some of the history I won't know
right.
on some of it, so.
Well,
Ask for
you
feedback.
have knowledge right there.
Yeah, okay, so I can work on that.
Okay,
And then
And
I'm
you're-
gonna contact Gregory Parangalton and try to get him here, but I need to know what is.
so, I am available on Monday the 12th. That's the second Monday of the month.
That's quick.
Lindsay's checking the.
I'm looking at the Flynn calendar.
Okay.
Um,
Because
4-H
I'm missing the
club-
next 2 Mondays, because those are the fly days for, I've got to close out Mom's house.
Sorry,
That's okay.
I didn't know about that until right now.
That's right.
There's a 4-H club meeting at 7, but like Nicole was saying, if we're asking people to come, maybe 5 p.m. would be a better time to
I'm good
meet.
with 5.
I know it's early, but I mean, I can roll over. I can, you know, just
We're here.
We're here.
We're
Okay,
here anyway,
We're here.
Well, and especially if we're inviting guests from potentially
Yeah.
Bozeman or
Do you
Helena.
think our earlier time is better for them anyway?
Depends.
I
on
think
the
so, because the
job.
roads will be better.
Right, I don't know if
probably.
they're, if they're paid staff, right?
Yeah,
That's-
right.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's worth asking, and then we could just say we're gonna have a meeting, and we could put it on the calendar at like 4, and just hold the space at 4, right? You know, then it's just on the Flynn calendar, we can always take it off. But I mean, we could hold it as early as 4. I mean, are you all available earlier? They may say, could I come at 4?
I think I have the whole entire day available now. So,
I don't want to assume anything. All these retired people are like the
say you have
busiest in
all that
America. I know.
Well, you know, I do Monday I have one at 3 o'clock, but it's at the Legion. I have both Monday, the first Monday and the second Monday, but the second Monday is at 3 o'clock now because the ladies can't drive at night. So we moved it from 6 up to 3. So I'm available at 4 o'clock. That's not a problem. I'll just walk down the street. I can leave that meeting early enough.
It doesn't have to be
I'm
4.
work-
I'm just saying we can put it on the calendar at 4, depending on what
Mm-hmm. I think we
they
might
say.
have better
Or-
cooperation with the other speakers.
Yeah, I would agree with Nicole. I
Yeah.
think they would probably rather come early
Yeah.
than later if they're driving from somewhere.
Especially daytime with what could be potentially icy roads in January.
I'll put it on the calendar. I'm putting it on there right now.
Oh, you are?
Yep, I got
So
you.
that's the 12th.
Monday, the 12th, at potentially 4 o'clock, and we'll check with our guest speakers.
We'll just stick it on here from 4 till 7 or whatever, 6:30. And then we'll just have the room.
cool.
Not 4 a.m. Not 4 a.m.
Have an all-night party. Okay. All right. Do we have any other final comments? Hearing none, I am going to adjourn this meeting at 7:20. And thank you all for coming tonight. Appreciate it.